Did you just yawn?
Yeah.
Wow, this is a great way to start. A lot of energy today in today's podcast. I'm fucking tired too. So
it's been a long week.
Oh my god, yes, such a hard weekend in Big Bear.
Yeah.
Taking a weekend by the snow.
It was fun to just,
take a weekend off.
Snow. I didn't take the weekend off. I'm always working. Thank you very much.
I'm sure. Were you doing interviews during the weekend?
Off. I was out with just a small group. Small little group.
Sounds
to an
so tiring.
It was nice.
How are you awake right now? I don't. How? You're like a
I don't
superhuman.
know. Really, I don't give myself enough credit.
Seriously, after this terrible weekend in Big Bear, it must be so tiring.
Are we matching?
Yeah, because you decided to join the dark side and have some style.
I don't like what I'm wearing right now.
Did you say you had a spray tan? How am I supposed to know you had a spray tan?
Because look at my hands.
Oh yeah, they are actually very brownish.
Yes, they're Trump-esque, I have to say. They're orange, and my legs are orange.
Why would you do that? It doesn't even, I've never smelled.
I'm an addict.
It doesn't look good.
Hey!
What?
Excuse you very much.
I'm not. I don't know a guy who loves a girl that likes spray tan. It doesn't smell good either.
Not nice. Well, I took a shower last night.
Okay.
So it shouldn't smell. Do I smell?
No.
Okay.
But it's true. I see different of colors in your fingers.
This is after like scrubbing and exfoliating and.
So why do it?
Because I want that bronze. I want to be a bronze goddess. That's why.
Wow. Actually, was it 2 years ago? I had a shoot where I was gonna. It was in the winter here, but we were shooting for SPF, how do we call that again?
What, like a suntan company?
Yeah, like a sunscreen company in Tulum. And because we're in winter here in California, they told me they paid for me to go get a spray tan, which was my first spray tan, so that when we're over there and we're actually shooting, we already kind of look tan. And
it's a bad idea.
I mean, no, it was fine. The only thing is, I've never done it before, and at the time I fractured my little toe, so I had a Band-Aid all around my foot. And the girl who spray tanned me, just decided to go over it. So I had a very white line on my foot.
So it looked like you were wearing socks?
Well,
like little anklets?
No, just on middle of my foot. My whole foot was tan except that one little piece.
That's weird.
Around which was super white. Yeah. And then my underwear, because I didn't want to go naked. I didn't want this to go on my balls.
No, you don't spray. You don't spray yourself naked.
Yeah, but then I had boxers line.
Some people go. Go for it.
Anyways,
go for it.
I'm not a fan of it.
Why not?
Today we're going to talk about something super fun.
Super fun.
Just to go with today's vibe.
Yeah. Well, darkness, I guess,
darkness.
Right? Yeah, the end.
That's it. Breakups.
We are mourning breakups.
Yeah. Because actually we had a question of the audience that asked us something about breakups. Like, you know what? This deserves its own 50 minutes.
I mean, really.
Breakups suck. Breakups are complicated.
They're the worst. I get irritable bowel syndrome just thinking about either getting dumped or being the dumper. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer being the dumper or the dumpee?
I think, first of all, I want to know what's the worst way you've been dumped.
Worst way I've been dumped?
Yeah. Like the one where you're like, they fucking dumped me like that?
Yeah. Over Valentine's Day.
Oh. On Valentine's Day or before?
Then again, I did tell him, this is like a preemptive dump, I guess, because I did tell him a few days before that I was not ready to be in a relationship, and we were just dating.
Classic Jen.
We had plans for Valentine's Day.
Jen is like, I don't want to be in a relationship, but I also kind of want to see somebody else, but I don't have anybody else to see, and I don't want you to see anybody else, but we're not in a relationship. And it's too early for you to meet my parents, but eventually we'll see. But I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I'm a head case.
Yeah.
So he broke up with me, or we had plans for Valentine's Day, and he didn't follow through, and kind of left me hanging. And then I remember going downstairs in my apartment building, and the concierge was like, he had a tray of little chocolate hearts, and he gave me some, and he was like, "You look sad tonight." So I started bawling, crying in front of my concierge.
I thought you didn't like the guy. You
and
just
then
said you didn't like
a whole medium pizza that night.
But you just said you weren't ready. Like, did you like the guy? You just weren't.
I just wasn't ready to be in a relationship.
Did you like the guy?
I liked him.
Okay.
But not enough at that moment to sign on to a relationship.
I mean, you know what? I kind of understand him. He's like, this girl doesn't see right now any future with me. Why am I gonna go all out of my ways to actually have her spend a great evening on Valentine's Day?
It's his way or the highway. Fine.
I understand it.
So
it's also tremendous pressure for guys. Valentine's. We have to do everything. It's like, I wish it was a little bit more mutual in sense of, girls expect things or not expect, but it's like
so French, dude. That's
it is
so French. That's so European.
Do you know of the male's Valentine's Day? It's like an online thing.
You know what? Like
do you know there's a date for it?
No.
Okay, so if you write on Google, male.
Is it steak and something?
Steak and blowjob day, which is March 14th. So it's literally a month later. If you do a good Valentine's Day, then a month later, as guys, you're supposed to have a steak. I guess for me, I'll take broccolis and and a nice blowjob.
Okay, so
fair enough.
Listen, women have to put up with enough garbage all year round, just in general, just with our bodies and our lives. So I'm sorry, but the guy can sack up for like one day and show his girlfriend or his wife how much he appreciates her.
Yeah, of course. And
especially
you were not
if
his
she's
girlfriend,
the kind of person,
correct?
like a domesticated gal who will take care of the house and the kids and all that.
But anyways, so
this is why
so
things didn't work out between me and Julien.
Yeah, I'm too I guess too pro equal.
Okay.
A little bit pro equal, a little bit, but I still I know my place as a man. But there's a lot of things where I think we're in 2021. It's time to grow the mentality a little bit. It goes both ways. That's pretty much my mentality.
Okay, so you did not answer my question.
Yeah. Do I prefer be the dumpy or the dumper?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think and ideally it goes both ways. Ideally, no, like let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Ideally, it's like we kind of both know that, and it very rarely happens, but we kind of both know that this is not going anywhere, and then it's kind of like a conversation where we're both agreeing that we should stop, kind of like mutual.
Okay.
My father, when I was very young, told me to always be the dumper.
Always be the dumper?
Yeah, always be the one who dumps.
Why?
My father was old school, but he was just like, he said, if you dump and you ever he said that if you dump someone, there are more chances of them coming back to you than if you get dumped.
But why would you dump somebody if you didn't want to dump them?
No, it's just like maybe you dump them, but
then you have the parachute option of them coming back to you.
Of coming back to you, like you're in position of power for him. And again, I'm not agreeing with that because I really want
to have a conversation with your father, Julien. I want to have a conversation.
Yeah,
just a calm conversation.
But basically, it was like if you dump, you're in power. You took you make the decision, and that's.
But in your heart, Julien, what do you prefer?
Obviously, I do not enjoy dumping anyone. I think it's extremely hard. But obviously, if I had to pick, I'd rather dump, because if I dump, that means I'm the one who's over it and I'm not the one who's suffering through the breakup. Right. That makes more sense. But I hate doing that. It's just not great. Yeah.
I would much prefer being the dumper.
Yeah.
Because you feel like at that point, your feelings are resolved.
Yeah.
And you have the resolve to go and do it.
Yeah.
And then the aftermath is not as painful.
Of course.
Because you've already settled. The odds are, like, this isn't, when you break up with somebody, it's rarely a spontaneous thing. You put some thought into it, so you're settled in your brain before it happens. So then it's only a matter of how to do it.
Yeah.
Which is always difficult.
Okay. Before we get to that, though, I will say that as a dumper, sometimes there's this question of remorse, which is extremely, in a sense of like, maybe
you're
a week later,
for somebody's feelings.
There's that, but there's also maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, when you realize you're alone. I always sometimes ask myself, like, fuck, did I
second guessing?
Yeah, did I do that? Did I really dump the person? Fuck, did I make a mistake? And when you get dumped, technically you have to do is like, okay, I need to fucking move on. And you gotta move on. You don't have to think, she's like, this person's done with me, they want to think to me. And that's also a tricky spots to be
It
in.
is. Yeah. So you have no choice. So I get what you're saying. Like when you're the dumper, you have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you can stay or you can go. And so yeah. And if you make a deliberate choice, you always have that doubt in the back of your mind. Did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
And did I do it the right way?
Exactly.
Whereas if you're the dumpy,
Then
it takes that responsibility and control away from you. So now the only control you have over it is
how you
do
handle
I move
it.
on?
Exactly. Which is nice as well. I remember, I can't remember who it was, but I remember, being in a kind of relationship, and she dumped me, and I felt so relieved. I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, because you were like, this is going to happen anyway.
Yeah, this is
I'm
not
just
fun
happy that
anyways.
she
I'm
took-
so happy
yeah.
actually this is over. Let me go just move on.
Yeah.
But I've also been dumped once by a girl that I really liked, and that sucked.
I feel like a lot of guys, or at least the ones that I've talked to, they'll prolong being in a relationship because they don't want to hurt the person. And they feel protective over this person's feelings when in reality, you're only prolonging the inevitable. And if you're miserable, it's going to come out in various ways. Like it's going to come out somehow, whether it's like, they do something really minor or really small that gets on your nerves and you exacerbate it to the point where it turns into a fight, or like something that's unconscionable in your own head. So I think that, you gotta cut the cord.
But you also have to be ready.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been in a situation where this is about to be over, but you're not ready to end it?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a moment, maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month later, you're like, okay, now I'm ready.
Right. And you're not ready until you are.
Yeah. And then the fucking person was like, well, why didn't you end it a month before?
Because I wasn't 100% sure.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So as a dumper, you can easily be the asshole.
And I don't know about you, but like whenever I'm about to dump somebody, I can't be okay with them and act like everything's normal until that point where I dump them. Like they know.
Yeah,
they
you have that
definitely
feeling
see it
in
coming
the bit. Yeah.
from me because I'm just not present anymore.
And what's your favorite, like if you had to pick a way of dumping? Text message, ghosting, phone call, in person?
I think you owe it to them. Well, my favorite way is over the phone.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think it's necessary
to
like
meet up to
every
break up.
time I've broken up with somebody in person, it's always they've broken down. I've tried to console them, and then I either wind up walking it back or just feeling like I completely destroyed this person. And I don't like that. I know what it feels like to be crushed. I don't want to put that on anybody else. And I have a very guilty conscience. So
yeah.
I would much prefer over the phone because then you can just like hang it up. When the conversation, if it goes south or when you're ready to end it, then you can just hang up. There's no like lingering.
But it's never over though.
Or how does this, okay, well, bye. And then you give them a hug and a kiss and like what,
Yeah. Listen, I hear you, but I feel like the few times like I've broken up with someone over the phone, usually a few hours later or the next day, I get a text or another phone call being like, so hold on, because I was thinking about what you said and no, right?
Yeah.
Which sometimes when you're in person, it doesn't happen because you're able to you're in person, you can feel the other person's vibe and how they're reacting, and you can kind of go off of them.
Yeah.
But then in person, I also find it rude to have somebody meet up for you to dump. You know what I mean? It's kind of rude.
I watched this episode of this is like a tangent, sorry, but I watched this episode of 90 Day Fiance, right?
Yeah.
And this guy Jesse flew all the way from the Netherlands to New York just to break up with this girl.
Wow.
And
what a champ.
Oh, what a champ. Oh my God, he's a psychopath. And that was the only reason. And she thought that he was going to propose to her and things were going to go a certain direction. And then he shows up and just to break, because he thought it was the noble thing to do to break up with her in person. See, and that's why, like, you can't tell them over the phone, hey, like, let's meet up. I'm going to dump you now. Like, you can't say that and then expect to meet up. So you have to almost pretend like, look, we're just going to this is not a big deal. Just want to grab coffee or just want to grab dinner, And so the person goes in thinking, all right, well, maybe things are going to be all right. Maybe things can be repaired.
Well, there's a in between. You can also just say, hey, I think, I'd like to talk to you. You can kind of like
pre-breakup?
Yeah, in a sense of like, hey,
a pre-dump?
you know, like you said, like you'll feel something. You'll feel it. Like the other person will feel it, right? So if you kind of like hit them with a text first, like, hey, are you available later? I'd love to talk to you. I've been feeling a little bit in my head. No. I think we should talk in person. At least the person knows what they're coming into, and it's probably easier.
Yeah.
I would say.
One thing that I think is completely off limits, you cannot break up with somebody via text.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's so disrespectful. Even if you've been together for like, you know, a couple of months or a month, just like do it over the phone, please. It's a big conversation. It's an important conversation to have.
Sure, but there's also, okay, if you've been hanging out with someone for 3 weeks and you're not feeling it, I don't think you also need to be, I mean, you could do it over the phone, but you know, if you're not like, if it's somebody that you talk to twice a week, 3 times a week, you guys casually hook up, you don't necessarily need to have an official breakup either. You could also technically just send a text, be like, listen, I'm not feeling this, blah, 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 blah. We can talk about it if you want to. And usually the person will be like, it's all good. I don't need to talk about it.
I still think that's callous.
Yeah?
I still think, especially if you're intimate with that person, I still think it's callous.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like it warrants like a conversation. Voice to voice.
I agree. And that is something I think that as you get older, especially for guys, it's something that you kind of learn, right? Because when you're younger, I don't know about girls, but when you're younger, you kind of go a little bit of the more coward way.
Yeah.
So text or you just kind of ghost. And as you
Avoiding
get older, you're like, you know what? Yeah. And I think people are a little bit more hurt if you do it in person, if you do it real, like you rip the Band-Aid, but down the line, they actually respect you more.
So I have been broken up with a couple of times over the phone.
Yeah.
And every time it's happened, I always walked away respecting that person because at least they had the balls.
Yeah, of course.
To call me up
yeah.
and say, hey, you know, I don't want to take this any further, or, you know, I'm really not, my heart's not in a place to date or be in a commitment, you know, and I can always respect that.
Yeah. While you're eating your pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I respect this
Well,
person
I'm in my
so
office
much.
at work, and, you know, then I have to do something on set with Billy Bush. Then it's like, oh, no, I haven't just been crying. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I want to add a quick topic to that because we do have a little bit of a list of what we want to discuss, but I want to add one that we forgot. What about rebounds? Do you believe in those? Do you think you need
believer. I'm a rebound? I'm a firm believer, and you do whatever you need to do to make your heart feel okay. And especially if you're the one who's gotten crushed, if your idea is the best way to get over someone is to get under someone, then go do you.
Is that your thing? That's my question.
No judgment there. Is that my thing?
Because it goes both ways, right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say like sexually, but I would say yes. I have managed to get over somebody quicker if I start to migrate my attention somewhere else.
Yeah. So
like I have to have that like cushion, because otherwise you just feel like you just fell off a cliff and you're alone and it's no fun and you're like forced to sit and deal with your feelings
stuff. Yeah.
Instead of maybe quenching that like sadness or thirst or whatever you might call it with meaningless sex.
But meaningless to you. You don't know. This person might actually... The problem with the rebound is the person who you're using as a rebound might actually be into you, and then you're not because you're just using them, and then you're crushing this person because you're just like, oh my God, no, that's not what I was into.
I know. That can be a problem, which I think is best to just kind of set out when you're first
start. Like, just got out of something.
Like, hey, I just got out of something and I need to be straight up with you. Like, I am not in this for fun. A relationship. I'm just in it for fun. That's it.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
And if it turns into something more down the line, then okay.
Yeah, it can happen.
The worst thing, I mean, I had a relationship with a guy in New York who I really like meant everything to me, and we were friends for like 2 years. We dated for 6 months, and I really did think that he was going to be like it for me. Like I was in love, like that. This is it. Like I'm going to marry my best friend.
Yeah.
He broke up with me, and I was so devastated that I immediately, that same night that we ended things, went and started seeing somebody else.
Yeah,
and
it was just too much.
that guy became my new boyfriend. So I literally there was no cooling off period. And I do have to say, like, for a very long time in that relationship, I was still mentally in limbo. Like, I wasn't fully...
With the second relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't have time to
good.
deal with your emotions.
It's not good. I would not recommend relationship hopping because you have to bury those. You have to just confront it. You really, at some point, or it's going to catch up with you.
Of course.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I agree. Also, sometimes the thing about like every time I've had rebounds, because it's like if you feel like you need a rebound, it's because you ended things. Even if you dumped someone, you ended things with somebody that you did like and it didn't work out. So even if you genuinely cared about a person, but you just feel like it's not going to work out, it's not going to long term, my feelings are not going any deeper, it's still sad as a dumper to dump someone. But a lot of times what I'm realizing as I was younger, I would always have a rebound. But as I get older, I'm like, the rebounds feel so fucking empty.
Yeah. Cheap.
It's empty. Like you have no interest in what she has to say. I have no interest. If we have sex, the only thing I want to do is turn my back or please go away, go home so I can be alone. And I feel like as I get older, I'd rather just deal with my fucking feelings alone.
Absolutely.
And spend 3 weeks, a month solo, unless I already know the person that I'm going to hook up with is gone as soon as whatever, like, we hang out, it's gone. Because
you have to have like almost like an understanding with that person. That's why I think it's very important to let the other person know that you're not in the right headspace to pursue like any kind of romantic relationship.
Yeah. And that post sex emptiness is the fucking worst. You're sitting in your bed and you're just like, what the fuck had I like what why? Why did I do this? I'm not into this person.
Oh, I have so and once again, like whenever if I'm intimate with somebody after a big breakup, like horrible breakup, long-term relationship, and like say I'm intimate with like the first person after that, 9 times out of 10, like the first time we've been intimate, I've started crying.
Oh my God.
And like the guy doesn't know, but like what
do you mean he doesn't know? He thinks you have tears of joy running out of your thing mid-sex. Oh my God, she's really enjoying this.
Julien.
Oh my God.
It's always after, like I hop up, I go in the bathroom, and then I like dry my face because I'm like, I'm gonna lose it. So the guy typically doesn't see it. It's only happened a couple of times.
You opened
I'm just like not in a good space right now, and then it gets really intense and emotional, and then that's it.
Wow.
Last time I see that person. But
it's like you're opening the drain. We think you're washing yourself. You're not. You're just covering the tears.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pretty much. Are you turned on, or are those tears?
Yeah, we can hear her cry. It's like, oh my God. He's telling his boys like, yo, sex was so good. She cried after. This is how hard she came. She cried after.
Yeah, he's high-fiving his boys. In the meantime, I'm like,
I know.
Deep in ice cream.
I don't want to share too much about this, but I know a friend of mine in France actually who was intimate with a girl like for the first time, and that person that he was intimate with was actually going through losing one of her parents, and she cried like obviously mid-sex, and that's heartbreaking for the person because he's also like, should I keep doing this or do I need to stop? And the girl's like, no, keep doing it, but she's crying because she's sad, and it's just at this point you stop.
That's a huge turn off.
Yeah, you stop.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, how can you keep that going? Yeah. But why does that happen? You think like why do we specifically with Greg's? I've never. The guy's never cried during sex with me.
No.
That would be a little odd.
But I think.
But why is it always like? Why do you get emotional about other things? Like, I think during sex.
I think because. And this is how I would interpret it. Like you, as a girl, sex is intimate, and you have physical contact with someone, which might be more meaningful for women, generally speaking, than for guys. And it just makes a lot of feelings bubble up. Yeah. Right? Because you feel maybe that's a moment where you feel maybe secure. You feel like you're with, a man, and it feels like a safe place. I want to say it's the same thing as when guys have hard sex when they're pissed off.
Oh, and they're like working out some
they're working out some anger,
whatever it is.
And it could be, it had nothing to do with the girl, their partner. It's just like they're fucking angry, something went wrong, they had a shit day, and they're taking it out sexually on their partner, which usually is fun, I guess. A lot of
Can
times for
be
the girl, it
fun.
could be fun. Depending on how freaky they are, but like if they like rough sex, then that's something that's on. But it's just like a way for people, I guess, to deal with their emotion. Maybe girls deal with it more in a more emotional way. You know?
And especially if you're trying to get over a breakup and like you feel that sense of intimacy that you used to have with another person, and like you start to miss that other person and wish they were there, and what are they doing right now?
Yeah.
And then you think like, here's what I'm doing. You know, then you start to feel guilty. It's just like an entire.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. This is it's
a mind f.
It is. And also, what if, it just reminds you of the sex that you used to have with your partner, that it's not as good as what you used to have.
It's not as good.
I don't think it could ever be better, because, if you're not eventually invested.
Like little quirks that person has, when you're sleeping with them, and like, falling asleep with them, and like not thinking it's not going to happen with this person because he's going to be out of here as soon as this is over. Mm-hmm. So you start to compare and contrast, and it gets real emotional. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I would say for anybody who, I would not recommend relationship hopping, like I said, but if you wanna be intimate with another person just for the sake of
just fucking
satisfying, checking a box, then go ahead. Yeah. I do not judge.
I'm surprised we didn't put that in our list of topics to discuss for breakups, because that was just quite the topic.
Oh, it sure is. Okay, so here's reasons for breaking up. I feel like that's kind of worth talking about.
I mean, there are so many, I think.
Yeah.
Would you? I think. Wait, there's either you're not into the person, number one, right? Mm-hmm. Number two is, and I think that's more our age, you like the person, but you don't think this is long term, so you don't want to waste the person's time. Yeah. And be like, I don't want to ride this for another 3, 4, 5, 6 months, because I know
you have to be considerate of that person's life and time and commitment, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste your time either.
Exactly. And then maybe you met someone else.
Yeah. And if you did meet somebody else, do you let that person know? I personally,
no, I don't think you would say anything.
Okay, so here's my thing. If I'm told that there's somebody else that they met, to me, like, that is crushing. But at least I know that I have no control over it.
I was going to say.
It's not something that, like,
it's not something you did.
It's you. Yeah. No, this is like, here are your flaws, and this is something that you need to work on, and something that you're not doing that's making me happy. Mm-hmm. It just so happens that somebody else came into that person's life who makes them intrigued enough to want to explore something with them.
But it's not about you either. If that person just says, I'm just not feeling it emotionally deeper.
What do we say? What does Selena Gomez?
Yeah, the heart wants what it wants.
Heart wants what it wants.
Exactly.
And you can't help that.
So and that is technically the same ending without sharing that you met somebody else. Mm-hmm. So saying, if that's the case, that you're not going deeper emotionally with that person, or that you're not feeling it long-term wise, has the same effect as saying I met somebody else, but you're not crushing that person saying I met somebody else. So
you're saying you might as well just keep that to yourself.
I think so. I think this is private, and you don't need to.
It doesn't change the outcome.
Also, it doesn't change the outcome, but also you never know. Your partner might start asking questions. Oh, how long have you been with them?
Then it becomes accusatory.
Yeah, have you been with them while we were together? And and they start maybe messaging them on whatever, social media, all that shit. So I think, keep that shit to yourself.
Oh, that kind of brings up a story. Yeah. About another awkward breakup. Oh man.
Go ahead.
It's gonna make me look really bad.
Well, we already know quite some stuff about you. Yeah. I don't think you can beat you creeping on people with your dog's Instagram. I don't think we can beat that. You're already up there.
I was dating this guy, and we were in the beginning stages of dating. And I had been talking to other people simultaneously. This particular person, I was getting maybe a little bit more involved with him, and I brought him up to Ohio to meet my parents. Oh. So that's me, like that. We weren't like a thing yet. So we drove there. On the drive back, we became official. Mm-hmm. But The other guy I was talking to finds out about it and screenshots and sends this new guy, or this guy that I was getting more serious with, all these messages that we had been communicating, and
throughout
pictures.
the weekend as well.
Yep, pictures.
While you were introducing him to parents?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah. Just
What?
casually talking, nothing really serious, but like just checking in. Because I was having him on a hook. I was just like hanging him on a hook, like, hey, you know.
But you said pictures.
Keeping this one on the line.
While you were with your man, were you sending him pictures of yourself to the other one?
Yeah, like selfies, like, to the other
sneaky
guy. I
Jen,
know. I
what?
told you it was going to make me look bad, right?
Wow.
So
I didn't think he'd be capable of doing something like
And
that.
by the time, literally, it's a 10-hour drive from New York to Ohio. By the time, and he drove almost the entire way. I'm such a cruel person. So at the end of the drive is when he gets all these messages, and he's just like sitting on my bed, and I'm like, what's going on? What? And I was just like caught with my pants down, or red-handed, or whatever you want to say.
Did you burp?
What?
What? You never saw the Jinx?
No.
You know about Robert Durst?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's Robert Durst, for you who don't know. It's just such a random thing, but like Robert Durst is like a serial killer.
Psycho.
Yeah, psychopath who got off the hook for like, I think 20 years. Like they couldn't prove him. And then eventually he was recording an interview, and he was still mic'd.
Yeah.
And then he went in the bathroom, and he was talking to himself while going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he goes like, of course I killed them. I killed them all, whatever.
Yep.
And that actually got him to go to prison. But when he came back to sit down, the director said, we heard everything you said. And he panicked so much, he started burping. He was just like, because you're just caught red-handed. So my question is,
panic burping before.
no? Oh my God, it's such a
brilliant.
thing. So I was wondering if you burped in front
No,
of him.
I did not burp.
No? Okay.
I did not burp.
Damn
But there's a lot of hysterics that night. I was like, no, please believe me. But I was just caught because all the screenshots were there.
Okay, but you still have technically that argument saying, I brought you to my parents. I didn't bring him.
And we were, right, exactly.
Right?
That's right. So he was more important. And honestly, this is God's honest truth. I was like, I'm not going to talk to this person anymore. Now that this guy's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
I am off limits. So honestly, I was gonna call it off. It was just like a little tragic, a little Shakespearean.
Yeah, it was bad timing. Yeah.
It was horrible timing.
And what happened?
Oh, he broke up with me immediately,
right
but then we got back together, and we were together for like 9 months, and it was fine.
Oh, okay. So he forgave you.
Yeah.
See, you just made my point. He broke
After
up with
a while,
you, and then you guys were still
It
together.
took some time.
He just made my dad's point. He broke up with you, but he could still be back with you.
Yeah, I mean, true, but I still, that was terrible what I did.
Yeah, no,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
For
Sorry,
sure.
Albie.
Did you try a little bit to be like, no, I swear to God, like this is not like.
Yeah,
reach out to him multiple times? Yeah.
Sure. And listen, I didn't come after the other guy. I was like, you screenshot it, you sent it to him. Like I was in the wrong. What am I going to say to you?
Yeah.
But that said, you and I'm not talking to you anymore.
Yeah. That's it.
Bye.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty bad.
Thanks for sharing that one.
Yeah. So another point we wanted to talk about is, can you be
Friends with your ex?
With an ex? You and I are, I would say, a testament to that. Obviously, this whole podcast is based off of the idea that we dated and now we're friends.
Yeah, but okay, we didn't date it. We didn't date for like 6 months intensely.
No, we weren't.
We were. I feel like we were more friends who hooked up for a little bit, got interested in each other, and then eventually it just faded off. Especially at the beginning when you were still in New York. So we already kind of knew this is complicated. And then you moved here and we hooked up, but it was never like I don't feel like we were actively dating. Like we didn't go to dinners. You know what I mean?
No.
So that's different. I think somebody you hook up with, could you be friends with them? Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a hookup situation, yeah, potentially, yeah. But
would you feel comfortable though? Like, let's say you have a boyfriend, and you know your boyfriend is still friends with a girl that he hooked up with, and they're actually friends, and you might be in a group setting all together, and she's super nice to you.
I'm trying to think if that's ever actually happened.
But would you be comfortable with
I think it has happened. And yeah, I mean, yes. I also have to look at her. I'm not going to lie.
And what if she's totally different than you?
if she's like a knockout, stunning, like beautiful girl, then I'm like, oh shit. Like no, I would instantly feel not comfortable.
Really?
Yeah, I'm petty like that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But if I'm around her and she's super fun, like I've had this happen before. I've had it happen before. Actually, now that I remember. So one of my closest friends in the world dated my boyfriend like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was a total sweetheart. We went out for drinks one night and talked about the whole thing, and we were fine.
You're fine? Yeah.
And now we're super close.
Yeah, but okay, so
yes.
and especially like in the event that, you get a boyfriend, let's say a year from now, right?
Yeah.
And we're in a group setting and I'm around, there's nothing to worry about. It'll be fun. I'd be chill with the dude.
Of course.
I don't know if he'd be chill with it, but he would know that there's nothing to fear.
I feel like the guy would have to be super confident, like in himself, because you are intimidating to look at, I would imagine, for a lot of other guys.
Okay. Yeah.
So that could be an issue. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's impossible. I do believe you can. It makes me slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But as long as I have faith in knowing that the guy is like totally over it and totally into me, then all right. Nothing to worry about. If they hang out by themselves together, that's where I get a little, what are you doing?
But then again, you're able to hang out with me one-on-one and nothing is there.
Yeah, but we were like never in a relationship.
Yeah. So you'd be fine.
So I've always looked at you and I as friends.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
Above anything else.
So then you'd be fine with your boyfriend hanging out with, a girl one-on-one that he hooked up with their friends, but you wouldn't be friend with him hanging out with his ex, even though if they're still friends.
I don't think I'd be okay with that.
But what about the first one? Or none?
I don't know if I'd be okay with that.
So you see, but I agree with you because it's crazy because we have a double standard.
We do.
Right?
Because I know, like 100%, like this is like a cool thing. Like I enjoy your company. We're friends.
That's it.
And that's it. But
you don't want that for the other.
It's the unknown, Julien. It's the unknown that I fear.
I hear you. I mean, listen, I'm on the same boat. It's like I know it can happen. And it could be really cool, but do I want that in my life as my partner to actually be hanging out one-on-one with somebody they hooked up with? Not really. But in the end, when you really think about it, it's the best because if they hooked up and they got that shit over with, it's not there. So there's less chance of it happening.
But if they were once physically attracted to each other, I don't think that shit goes away. I don't think that goes away.
Oh, it could fade away.
To me, it would take like a while. And
the
other person would have to be like in a relationship with somebody else and have moved on. Do you know what I mean? But
I mean, I've hooked up with people where I was attracted day one and then day 30 I'm not.
It's because you're a psychopath.
No, I'm not. You're just kind of like, okay.
That is because you were a sociopath. I don't know. Listen, like if I think someone's attractive, I think someone's attractive. That doesn't mean I'm gonna make a move.
Yeah.
But I still think they're attractive.
I get it, but there's thinking somebody's attractive and there's being attracted. That's two very different things.
Those are two different things.
Okay.
I would agree with you.
So don't you agree that you could be attracted the first day and maybe and then after a few times of hooking up, you still think they're attractive, you're just not attracted to them anymore.
Yeah.
That happens.
That's happened.
So I'm not a sociopath.
Well,
there you go. Or psychopath, whatever you
agree to disagree.
You know what? Let's move on because I'm not liking this.
You don't like where it's going?
No.
Would you say you've been dumped more times than you've dumped?
I've dumped more.
You've dumped more.
Yeah.
I feel like it's shifted.
For me? No, for you. You're talking about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I was the dumper for the majority of like my 20s.
Yeah.
I would always like, and I would get bored, I guess. I would just like lose interest. But lately, now that I'm an adult, I feel
like I've... Is it adult or is it adult?
An adult. I feel like I've gotten my hearts broken way more than I've broken hearts. And I feel like that's some sort of karmic retribution in my life because I broke so many hearts in my 20s that now it's coming back around.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think, instead of it being karma, do you think it has anything to do with potentially you as a woman feeling like time is running out?
I knew you were going to say that.
It's true. That maybe now you might want to hang on to people that you're not necessarily, that you think you're tricking yourself
because
into
my eggs are going to freeze over and I'm going to...
That's a question. I'm not making an assumption. This is an actual question I have for you. Feel free to answer. If you say no, not at all, okay, I'll drop it. But, maybe when you're younger, you don't feel like this. You just, I have all the time in the world. But as you hit 30, it's a known thing that girls have pressure, societal pressure, to have your shit together and have a boyfriend and possibly be pregnant soon-ish. Plus, you guys have way less time than us as guys. I don't have to.
Can you stop talking for a second?
I don't have to give I don't need to get my shit together until I'm 50.
I'm gonna be 37 in less than a month.
Cool. So you're already expired like 2 years. Oh no! Sorry, I had to make the joke.
Where's the hard object? I need to hit Julien with something right now.
No, but seriously, do you feel like that might be it?
If I did get pregnant, it would be, and I think I've told you this before. What do you call it? A geriatric.
Oh, in vitro?
No, a geriatric pregnancy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, yes and no. I think that the older I get, the less inclined I am to be in a relationship and the more selective I am to enter into a relationship because I don't want to do this for too much longer. Like, I don't want to, try it out. And
so your standards are higher.
Because you really don't want to waste your time when you're of a certain age, like me. Like, you don't want to waste, you don't have the time to waste years if you do want to start a family with somebody. Yeah,
so you're more selective.
I'm more selective.
Your standards are a little bit higher, and you don't want to put up with stuff that you could have when you were younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you also get mischaracterized a lot whenever you're older. Like, it's tough. I'm telling you, Julien, it's tough to be a woman in her upper 30s because, guys, immediately the default is, she definitely wants to get married and have kids and, be in a relationship. And, they start to, freak out.
Yeah.
If they're in something with me and I was just wanting to have some fun and not maybe necessarily be in a relationship. And once again, being selective.
Yeah, I mean that's So
you get dumped more. Yes, you do.
I get it. I mean, I think that's also rare that somebody who's around your age, 36, 37, 35, that wants to actually still is okay with possibly having some fun and seeing where things are going. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Also, there's a few things. Some girls will say that and then a month in will be like, "Yo, so what the fuck are we doing because I'm on a time constraint," right? So it starts as I just want to have some fun. And then a month in, you have that.
Yeah, but you go from having a relationship be on low boil to you're turning it up so high that it's going to
freak out guys. It's going to freak out guys.
Freak them out. That's a surefire way to drive a guy away is to say, hey, by the way, just so you know, I want to have a baby by the time I'm 40.
That's it. Yeah. So that's a lot of pressure to put on a guy. And I think as a general, there's a general rule. You can't put pressure on guys. We don't work well under pressure. It's just it's just women just trick us. Just be like, yeah, no, of course. No, we're taking it easy. Literally, 2 years later, you're still with that person and you're moved in together. But if you start to pressure a guy about the relationship and doing this, we start to get in our heads. And that's when we start to think. There's two other things I want to mention.
We just get sick of guys wasting our time. That's
of course,
the problem.
and that's
we want to lay it out like, hey, I'm not here to play games and mess around.
But you just said you're here for fun. You don't mind having fun, so you're contradicting yourself.
Well, I should say that more. I guess I should have said that more to guys.
To what? You should say you're here for fun, or you don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, here for fun.
Okay, but now you just said you don't want to waste your time.
No, I'm not speaking about myself personally.
Okay, as a general rule.
As a general rule, yeah.
There's two things too for you. I think also, the fact that you're successful. I'm sure not every guy can handle that. We've been over that before. Some guys just like to be providers. They don't like an independent girl and all that stuff that's successful. Some people don't want to. You're being with celebrities all the time. They might be jealous and shit. So that's also, I think, would make it a little bit harder for you. And do you also think that? And again, I'm asking a question, but I know you're not going to like this one, but I'm still going to ask it. Do you think that a guy can also be, okay, this girl is successful. She is, 35, and she's still not married. She doesn't have a boyfriend.
What's wrong with her?
What's wrong with her? Something must be wrong with
I've
her.
been married before, honey bunny.
Okay.
So it's like, I do think that's like a blessing. I feel like, yes, I've been in a place in my life where I've committed my life to somebody and it didn't work out. No fault of my own, but it didn't work out. So yeah, I look at a guy who's in his, say, mid-50s, has never been engaged before. I start to ask some questions.
You do? Because
I do.
You see, that's funny because I feel
you've never even been close to it. You haven't been in a longer term relationship with anybody. Like, what is it? Did you think you were gonna like live this bachelor lifestyle for the rest of your life? Like, what?
But I feel like it's easier for
not...
a guy to justify it. I feel like a guy can just say, "Well, I've never met a girl that made me want to settle down. I've never met somebody who's." I think it's easier justified. It's unfair, but I feel like a guy can justify this. You could be 45 and, still not have a kid and, be successful and stuff. And still some girls will still think, oh, well, he just hasn't met anybody that was worth him settling down. But if you meet a girl that's around 40 years old or a little under and she's still single and doesn't have kids, I think most guys go towards that thing of like, oh, something must be wrong with this chick if she's not locked down yet.
And I'm
unfair.
Just telling you from a woman's perspective, we feel the same way about older guys.
Okay. All right. So this is something that we don't know.
Yep. And for a lot of single women who are in their, late 30s, early 40s, and they haven't been married or they're not married and don't have any kids, that just means that can mean anything. That can mean that they, put their career before everything else, and that's can be difficult. You waste your time on long-term relationships that don't work out.
Yeah.
I've wasted years on relationships that haven't worked out. Years. I collectively, I think 10 years on failed relationships with trying to make it work, a couple years here, a couple years there, 5 years there, and that those years all add up, and those are you're in your 20s when you're like in your not in your prime. I shouldn't say in your prime because I think you're in your prime when you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
But that's when you do most of your dating before you're committed. So
and again, I think the way guys see it is not fair. I don't agree with that point of view, but I just was interested in having a female's point of view. If a guy thinks this way, what is your counter argument? It says, no, this is not what's happening. It's not that the girl is crazy. It's just that. And so you said maybe they've put their career first. Maybe they've got their time wasted by your relationship that didn't work out. It's just more than that. Yeah.
Yep, that's all it is.
Yeah. That's we guys do have it a little bit easier.
Wasting our time. That's you guys are just time and youth and energy sucks. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, not really, but I'm kidding. I feel like there's an explanation for that. Shouldn't rush to judgment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Plus, women who are in their 30s and 40s know exactly what they want, and they're probably more experienced and adventurous in the bedroom. So, go get you a girl who's like in her 30s.
I mean, yeah, you know what?
30s.
Exactly. If she keeps it tight and everything, absolutely.
I don't know what you think happens down there, but
I'm not talking if the vagina is tight.
Fine.
I'm talking about the body. Keep the body tight. Not every
look
girl
at J-Lo.
work out.
Look at J-Lo.
Okay, but J-Lo doesn't even have sugar or coffee.
Ah, God, that's painful.
This is J-Lo
probably doesn't drink, does she?
No, she doesn't drink alcohol. She doesn't have sugar. Doesn't have coffee. This is just really. I mean, she's
just
but
super
amazing.
Rich.
But she just does whatever she needs to do.
Well, you got to make those sacrifices to look like that.
Yeah. And that's another thing that is somewhat unfair is guys that are around their 40s, 50s will go for younger girls.
Yeah, because
so then if you're around your 40s and you're single as a woman, you have to go to a man who's 60 and nobody wants a 60-year-old man.
No way. I think that I've changed my little wheel or whatever you call it, my window.
Yeah. To 80?
I would definitely the highest I would go would be maybe a guy who's in his mid 40s.
Okay. That's still good,
and the youngest I would go would be a guy who's you can't be any younger than 33.
Yeah.
34.
Okay. I mean that's fine. My mom is actually, always been with younger guys after my father.
Yeah,
most
because
of the
your
time.
mom can because your mom is smoking hot.
Yeah, people think she's my girl.
Your mom is.
When I'm on the beach with her, people are.
Yeah, your mom's super sexy. How? Well, that's for a different conversation. But
I mean, she just works out, but she does a lot of like Pilates, yoga, and she just eats quinoa and dry nuts.
Okay, so she doesn't eat.
No, she eats, but she's just very, 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 very clean. She doesn't drink, barely. She'll have like a glass here and there, but it's extremely rare.
But I don't understand.
She's always been that way, though.
Yeah. That's just her body type.
And just that's her personality, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she has that problem because she wants the guy that, are into her.
She can date guys who are in. How old is your mom?
50.
Your mom could easily date guys in their 30s. Easily.
Yeah, no, that would just be no.
Have guys in their 30s tried to?
At some point, yeah, I'm sure. At some point, I don't want to know, but I'm sure that at some point she was somebody who was significantly younger. No, she's with someone.
Oh, okay.
But he is a little bit younger. He's not in the 30s, but he's a little bit younger. He's probably like 6 years younger or some stuff.
What if your mom brought home a guy who was like about your age? What would you say? I love putting that idea in your head before you go to sleep at night.
You don't think I think about it? What's funny is I've brought women that were about her age, but I don't want, not now, no, when she was 50, but like when I was 20, I've had sex with like a 40-year-old. But
in your 20s?
Yeah,
hell
yeah.
See? That's what I'm saying. Shame in the game.
Oh my God, there's one actually. I think I'll already always remember that. We're going way off subject, but fuck it. It's the end of the podcast. It's the end of the episode. I remember I was in this club, and this legit woman, comes up to me, and the first line she says is, "You remind me a little bit of my son."
Oh no!
Yeah, and that same night I was in her bed.
No, yeah.
Her son was younger than me, but I reminded her of a little bit of an older version.
It's like an Oedipus complex where you like.
Oh,
that's like reverse though.
That's her. Yeah.
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 Ooh.
Listen, as a 20, I think I was 20 or 21.
You didn't care?
You know what? As a 21, I mean, I think she was 40 or something. As a 21, I was like, I need to check this off my list. Like, this has to be done. So I did it.
Yeah. What's the? Well, I'm not going to ask you that question, but.
What's the question?
Well, you would still date a woman in her 40s, right? Would you now?
Right now. 30s? The only reason.
This is very curious to me because like the older a guy gets, the less inclined he is to date.
So okay, there's two factors that would have to take into consideration.
All right.
One is, how there's a physical aspect. It's like how well has she taken care of her body throughout the years, right?
Okay.
Is she working out? Does she have, is her body, if she looks good and she's taking care of herself, that's okay. But then the other issue is, does she already have kids? If not, is she planning on having them? And does she take the necessary measures to have kids?
Yeah.
Because eventually I want kids. So if I'm with a woman that's 40, who within the next, if after 5 years from now or whatever, it becomes difficult for her to have kids and I can't have kids, I don't think I want to do it.
Yeah. It's a consideration.
That would be kind of it. The age range, it's, I don't mind as long as mentally we click, but yeah.
I don't know. I think if you find someone who makes you happy, stick with it.
At this point, yeah.
Stick
especially
with it.
In today's world.
Don't be a knucklehead and try to break up for the sake of you want something fresh and new and whatever.
Yeah, and also, goddamn it, don't text somebody when you're bringing another person to your parents. This is the real lesson that we learned.
I was a savage back in the day. I'm sorry.
Well, anything else that we need to discuss about breakups?
That's it.
I think that's kind of it, huh?
That's it.
Yeah. We're not going to do questions of the audience because we had an episode already.
Yeah.
And we already did a whole episode last week. But starting next week, we will be ending podcasts with a question every time. So feel free to send us one or two or whatever we can discuss. We'll still go back in our DMs, see if we missed any.
Yep. We actually have a couple fresh ones now. So
we do? I didn't check.
We do. Yeah, we
Perfect.
do. So we'll save that for next time. And
That's
until
it.
next time, bye.
Have a good week.